Hey everyone, I'm Nuzlocke Joe, and today I'm answering the age-old question, can you beat Pokemon Fire Red with a single LECHONK? Ever since he was first announced, this adorable little pig quickly became a fan favorite, and for good reason. Some time ago, I had the stupid idea to try and put LECHONK into a Kanto game, because why not? Eventually, I figured out how to do it, and this video chronicles my journey with LECHONK, as we strive to become Pokemon League champions. Let's get started. You'll notice fairly quickly that Professor Oak's speech about Pokemon is already different, as he shows us the almighty LECHONK. Indeed, old man, LECHONK is life. For this very special run, I call myself Canoso, and my rival, Pig. To start off, I could choose a normal starter like Squirtle or Charmander. Both are pretty good, I guess, but they pale in comparison to the Paldean LECHONK. Just look at that guy. I go with the Hog Pokemon and name him LeChonkies. Almost immediately, Pig sends out his Charmander to try and roast LeChonkies, but Oak recognizes the innate power that my Pokemon has. It takes a while, but after several tackles, LeChonkies is the victor, naturally. And Pig realizes that he picked the wrong Pokemon. Too late now, loser. Now that we have a bit of time, let's look at LECHONK, shall we? You'll notice that he has no number because he's not in the Pokédex. So, I go to the Pokemon School in Viridian, but they don't know anything about this mystery Pokemon. Oh well. Towards the end of Viridian Forest, I encounter a Pikachu that, naturally, I kill. Move over, you electric rat. LECHONK is the new Pokemon mascot. But then he dies for the first time because this stupid Weedle poisoned him and then slowed him down so much. Oh well, this isn't a Nuzlocke run, so that's okay, but I will still not use items in battle, just so we're all aware. Before entering the first gym, I get to level 14 and learn Flail. I decide to test out LeChonkies against Brock's protege, and it doesn't go very well. This is super sped up, as you can tell. The main point here is that Tackle does nothing to this guy, and even more nothing as he keeps using Defense Curl. Eventually I do take him out with Flail, but if I can barely beat a level 10 Geodude, there is no way I can defeat Brock. And Brock makes sure that I know that all of LeChonky's moves are not very effective. But then he drops a helpful hint. Good to know. I start off with Growl and Defense Curls. My logic here is that if I can survive at low health for a while, maybe Flail can do just enough damage to help me win the battle, though I'm not very hopeful. I do manage to beat the Geodude and get Onix to half health before he kills me. Okay, time to see what happens at level 15. Turns out, I learned Bite, which is a special move in this generation. Returning to Brock, LeChonkies bites the Geodude to make him flinch, and then finishes off the Geode without taking any damage. The Rock Snake still outspeeds me and takes one more hit, but before long, it too goes down and we have the first badge. After the battle, Brock gives some pretty sound advice, so I'm just going to leave this on the screen for a few more seconds so we can all see it. Okay, that's enough. Let's move on. At this point, let's really talk about LECHONK. As far as his stats go, we don't know what they are yet, so I based them fairly heavily on Phanpy. Though I did make LECHONK a little bit less bulky and slightly faster, while keeping the stat total of 330. For his ability, he's supposed to have either Aromaveil or Gluttony. But I don't really like either of those abilities, and they weren't originally in Gen 3, so I gave him Pickup instead. It makes sense for a pig who uses his sense of smell to find food and things, doesn't it? As for his moveset, you'll just have to wait and see what he learns. I did, however, create two brand new moves just for him. I get through Mount Moon and decide to teach him Mega Kick. With that, I head to the gym and Misty calls LeChonkies cute. Excuse me, this is a powerful beast, not a cute pig. So we fight, and I almost take out the Staryu with a single kick, but then it gets healed. After a few bites, I get confused by Water Pulse and die. Okay, maybe he's not a powerful beast. After losing a few more times, I decide to come back here later after leveling up and maybe learning a new move or something, who knows. The fight against Pig, on the other hand, actually goes really well. The Pidgeotto survives a Mega Kick, but then falls to Bite. Next, the Rattata, Charmander, and Abra all fall in a single hit. That was a nice little confidence boost. On my way to Bill's house, I get poisoned multiple times. So, I have to keep running back to the Poké Center, and it takes some time. At some point during this time, LeChonkies gets to level 25 and learns the first new move, Lil Boy. This move is a normal type Ancient Power. Now, you might think it's a bit OP to be getting Omni Boost at level 25, but this is not a run I'm taking very seriously. It's just for fun. So if this is where you draw the line, you probably won't like the other things we do here. But if you have been enjoying the video, be sure to subscribe and let me know what you think about it. If this video gets something like 1,000 likes well before Violet and Scarlet come out, then I'll try to make another game kind of like this, but with a different Paldean Pokemon. But if you want to see that, make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. With my new and completely unexpected move, we return to fight Misty. Now that I've leveled up a bit, Staryu falls to 1 Lil Boy. Nice. Starmie is a bit bulkier, so I'm hoping for the boost, and I get a crit instead. I'm fine with that. After surviving 1 more Water Pulse, LeChonkies takes out Starmie with 1 last Lil Boy. Still no Omni Boost though. Now we can finally get to Bill's house, and we see he turned himself into a baby Lechonk. How adorable. Didn't see that coming now, did ya? Granted, he is a much lower quality Lechonk than LeChonkies is, but that's because this was a last minute idea and I didn't want to spend any more time on it. It gets the point across. Bill, much like some of you, was so obsessed with Lechonk that he became one. I hope that's not an issue that you have. As a vicious predator, Lechonk's instincts tell him to never turn his back on a rival. And this is why he walks so funny. It has nothing to do with anyone's lack of pixel art or programming skills, so don't even think that. I run the de-Lechonkify system, downgrading Bill to just some dude. He was much better as a baby Lechonk. While making my way through Diglett Tunnel, I realized that I can't get Flash because I have 0 Pokemon. Literally, my Pokedex says I have none. At this point, I decide to mix up my game plans, which will become relevant a bit later on. For now though, I find a French pig on the SSN who makes fun of my Pokedex with no Pokemon. That's not very nice. Lechonkies takes out the Pidgeotto with 2 Lil Boys. I then get the Omni Boost before killing the Raticate, a Bite takes out the Kadabra, and a critical hit Lil Boy takes out Charmeleon, finishing off my rival. And I don't know if I've ever done this, but I read the book on the captain's table, and I have to do a double take because it's a book on conquering seasickness. Either it's a really crappy book, or the captain simply isn't applying what it says. Regardless, I get cut and teach it to Lechonkies, so now I can face Lieutenant Surge. Here, I consider teaching him Dig, but decide against it because I want to use Lil Boy instead. The Voltorb, understandably, outspeeds, and with 2 Sonic Booms takes me to about half health. The Pikachu falls in 1 hit, bringing out the Raichu. I use Flail in anticipation of taking a bit of damage, but nope, he uses Double Team instead, which makes me miss. Okay, I try again, and again he double teams, but at least I hit him this time. I finally swap to Lil Boy, but he attacks, killing me with a crit. So the flails didn't matter anyway. On my next attempt, Voltorb uses Shockwave twice instead of Sonic Boom, so I have a bit more health than last time. Pikachu still falls to a single hit, no surprise, but this time I start with Lil Boy as he double teams. I do get paralyzed by static, but I heal it with a Cherry Berry. Since I'm not sure Lil Boy will kill, I go for Flail, which after taking a Shockwave is now an 80 power move, which takes out the Raichu. Only 2 tries, that's not that bad, and I didn't even get the Omni Boost here. With 3 badges, I head towards Rock Tunnel and get to level 30 while stepping on some bugs. At 30, Lechonkies learns Body Slam, which is a pretty great move, especially for a normal type. Since I can't get rid of Cut, I replace Flail instead. For Rock Tunnel, you don't really need Flash, just follow a map or something and you're out in no time. Granted, it is a bit harder to avoid the trainers. I quickly make my way to Celadon and find a much improved Erica, if I do say so myself. Against Victory Bell, I use Lil Boy, which isn't quite a 2-hit KO, but I'm hoping for the boost. Turns out, it was a 2-hit KO. That's nice. This brings out Tangela, who heals a lot with Giga Drain, so I swap to Body Slam to deal more damage. After 1 more Body Slam, the Vine monster thing goes down. Here, Lechonkies levels up and learns Bounce. When I first coded this, I totally intended to use this move against Erica, just for fun, but I didn't realize I'd be stuck with Cut, so I pass on it. Erica's last Pokemon is the Vileplume. I use Body Slam as she misses a Stun Spore twice in a row, and then she heals. The next Body Slam paralyzes, and she heals again. That's lame. Still, after 2 more Body Slams, Lechonkies takes out the Vileplume, winning me the 4th badge. I totally did have a Cherry Berry in that fight, so it wasn't necessary to avoid all 4 of the Stun Spores. Only 3 would have been fine by me. On my way to get tea, I find a pleasant surprise. Another baby Lechonk, who talks like a Clefairy, apparently. What happened here was that to make Bill a Lechonk, I took the Clefairy overworld sprite and replaced it with a Lechonk sprite. I just happened to forget there were other overworld Clefairies aside from just Bill. So this was as much a surprise to me as it was to you. Look at that cute guy. I make my way through the secret rocket hideout underneath Celadon and find Giovanni, who alone recognizes Lechonki's true potential. It's about time. He starts with Onyx, which is another reason I kept Bite instead of getting Bounce. Onyx does use Harden, but falls after 3 bites. Against Rhyhorn, it's the same strategy. He does get a Tail Whip in though before dying to a crit, which isn't great because next is Kangaskhan, who uses Mega Punch that does about half of my HP. In contrast, Body Slam does like a third to him, maybe even a fourth. I use Bite just to see, and as expected, it did way less, and doesn't flinch. Oh well. Next turn, I die to a Mega Punch. It's been a while since I lost, so I guess I was getting too cocky. Time to try again. I failed one more attempt, but on the third time, I decide to use Lil Boy a ton against Onyx, and wait for the Omni Boost. Unfortunately, I'm already at low health, so it doesn't look good. The Rhyhorn flinches, and then dies to a crit, which is pretty great. I now outspeed the Kangaskhan, and Body Slam should be a 2-hit KO. He misses Mega Punch, awesome, but doesn't die to a second Body Slam, not awesome, but does get paralyzed, awesome again. I tank a Bite for some reason, and finish off the Kangaskhan with one last Body Slam. After threatening to take my Pokemon, Giovanni leaves and gives me the Sylph Scope, which I need to take out some ghosts. After fighting Pig, that is, who tries to turn Lechonkies into one of these ghosts. This fight, though, is really simple. After Pidgeotto goes down to 2 Lil Boys, and I get no boost again, I swap to Body Slam for the rest of his Pokemon. Gyarados does manage to hit me, but Exeggutor and Kadabra don't. Last is Charmeleon, who survives 1 hit, tries to roast me, and then falls. I mean, I am some 14 levels higher than his Pokemon, so it wasn't that difficult. I find an old man at the top of the Pokemon Tower who is so happy to see a Lechonk that he gives me a Poké Flute. Now, in order to improve my flute skills, I need to find someone who can critique my form. So, I find an unsuspecting stationary victim and blow my flute into his face, as you tend to do. For some reason, this angers the Snorlax, but Lechonkies is there to protect me. I guess some Pokemon just don't appreciate a master flutist. Flautist? I don't know how you say it. After he runs away, I get to Fuchsia, where I finally can get rid of Cut. That move has been taking up some prime real estate. Since I'm already here, I decide to go ahead and fight Koga. Against Coughing, I just use Lil Boy and hope for the boost, as I'm smokescreened. I do get the boost on the second try though, so that's nice. Coughing tries to poison me, but obviously, I was ready for that. I take out the Muck in 2 Body Slams, even with a Minimize, bringing out yet another Coughing. Body Slam misses, thanks to the smokescreen, and Sludge doesn't do all that much. Body Slam misses again, and Sludge still doesn't do all that much. I finally hit, but don't kill him, as I miss a crucial Lil Boy, letting him self-destruct right in my face. This fight was actually going well until 15 seconds ago. With only 24 HP left, I doubt I'm going to win, especially since I'm only 1 level higher than the Weezing. I outspeed, miss, and die, naturally. I try the fight multiple times and can consistently get back to Weezing, but I'm just not winning. So we'll come back here once Lechonkies has grown up a little bit. I teach Lechonkies Fly, which might seem a bit weird, but bear in mind that he already tried to learn Bounce, and flying is just a really big bounce. So is it that much of a stretch? My aerodynamic pig then flies me to Saffron City, so I can thwart Team Rocket's plans yet again. But first, I have to take care of my rival, Pig, who seems to think that more Pokemon is better than quality Pokemon. He only says that because he's never had a Lechonk. He leads with Pidgeot, who doesn't die fast enough, and hits me with a Feather Dance, lowering my attack. So even if I get an Omni Boost at this point, I still think I'm going to lose. And sure enough, after killing the bird, this water snake slowly but surely whittles me down. The next time I do manage to beat Gyarados, though barely, then the Charizard comes out and immediately outspeeds. Fun. After trying several more times, and even getting the Omni Boost on occasion, I still can't manage to win. So, I level up a few more times to become more of a big boy, and throw myself at Pig one more time. This time, I beat Gyarados with 1 whole HP, get the Omni Boost, which does let me outspeed the Charizard, who, surprise surprise, can do at least 1 damage to me. But let's not give Charizard all the credit here. There are a few times when I do defeat him with Surf, because of course Lechonk knows how to swim, only to fall to his eggs, for example. Eventually, I get a good start where I defeat the Pidgeot with an Omni Boost without being Feather Danced. The Gyarados only does a little damage to me before falling. I get a critical hit Surf, taking out the Fire Dragon. Execute falls to a Fly and a Lil Boy, though I do get paralyzed. Last is Alakazam, who just uses Future Sight and dies to a single Body Slam. Okay, that was certainly the most difficult fight so far. Perhaps Pig was onto something about quantity of Pokemon over quality. Nah. Next is the fight against Giovanni. He starts with Nidorino, and I use several Lil Boys hoping for the boost. After 3 hits, Nidorino falls without any boost. Oh well. For the Queen, I use Body Slam, hoping for paralysis, and a Body Slam does paralyze, but it paralyzes me. That's not fair. A berry heals me, then I swap to Surf, knocking her out with 2 waves. Kangaskhan is still his scariest Pokemon. She flinches me with Fake Out, and starts to lower my defense with Tail Whip. With -3 defense, I use Body Slam hoping to kill, but to no avail. I'm just about ready to reset this game, and Kangaskhan uses another Tail Whip. Why do I need to be at -4 defense? No matter, this last Tail Whip means Lechonky survives the Kangaskhan and takes it out. Even with my now abysmal defense, this fight is in the bag because Rhyhorn can't swim. I don't know why this Kangaskhan didn't just use Mega Punch or something, but I'm glad she didn't. That was actually the 3rd attempt, by the way. In the first 2 she did use Mega Punch, so I don't know why she downgraded her moveset, but whatever. Just for fun, and certainly not because I need to level up and learn a new move, I enter the former gym of Saffron so Lechonky can face his greatest weakness, Pokemon that look like people. But with Fly, this isn't even worth mentioning. Since I didn't level up there, I just head to Sabrina. Kadabra goes down in 1 hit, and I get the Omni Boost, which is great. A Body Slam takes out the sophisticated Mr. Mime, I mean he's the only Pokemon with a prefix, right? Allowing me to level up and learn Crunch. I'm going to need this move for the Elite Four, so it's finally time to say goodbye to Body Slam. It's been really useful. I use my new move against Venomoth just for fun, and tank a Psybeam in return. Her ace and last Pokemon is Alakazam, who falls to a single critical hit Crunch. That was anticlimactic. We beat her first try, and it wasn't even close. After the fight, Sabrina recognizes the true power of Lechonkies. Now it's time to avenge my death against Koga, who wants to eat my Pokemon. That's really messed up. On the first attempt, I get walled by his Muck and die before Weezing even comes out. Alright, we have yet another death to avenge. This time, I waste my Pecha Berry on the first Pokemon, which isn't a great start. But after 2 hits, I do get a Lil Boy boost, so that's nice. Except it didn't kill the coughing like I hoped, and he blows up in my face. Man, I hate these gas bombs so much. Against Muck, I get yet another boost as he wastes turn with Acid Armor. But Surf is a special move and knocks him out. The other gas bomb also falls to a 2 times boosted Surf. The bigger, slightly deformed gas bomb survives a hit, but he forgot how to explode for some reason, so I'm not really concerned. Until I get poisoned. At least it wasn't toxic. Weezing gets healed once, but that was just a waste of time, because he falls next turn anyway. And now, we only have 2 badges left. Because I'm feeling especially lazy, I have Lechonkies carry me on his back as he flies to Pallet Town, and then again as he swims to Cinnabar. Good old Lechonkies, never complaining when I make him do all the work. We go through the Pokemansion to get the gym key so that we can get ourselves the 7th badge. Now Blaine apparently also wants to eat Lechonkies, so it's time to settle this with Fisticuffs. And by Fisticuffs, I obviously mean Lechonkies throws a ton of water at all of his fire Pokemon. Growlithe dies in a single hit, as does the Ponyta. The Rapidash might survive, but I get a crit. Nice. Last is a bigger fire dog who survives a Surf, manages to hit a Fire Blast that does way more than I thought it would, but Lechonky still survives and wins the battle with one last Surf. It's a good thing the Rapidash didn't hit me, or I might have died there. Lechonky's gives me a ride to Viridian City, where I enter the last gym. Now it's obvious to me that the same interior designer who created the Rocket Hideout in Celadon also created this place. I mean, where else do you have these twisty panels? So wouldn't they have realized that the same person ordered the same twisty panels in different locations? It just seems weird to me that a criminal organization boss can somehow be a gym leader. Like, nobody realized that? Anyway, I get to the man named Giovanni, which is yet another obvious mob giveaway, and he decides to break the fourth wall and ruin our immersive experience. Because this run was totally realistic up to this point, especially with the flying pig. He was my favorite. His insolence cannot go unpunished. Naturally, his Rhyhorn falls in a single surf, because he always will. The queen takes 2 surfs and hits me with an earthquake that does about a quarter of my health. The king also survives a surf and also uses earthquake, though this one does a bit more, and mob boss heals at 1.2. Apparently, Nidoqueen wasn't worth saving, but Nidoking is? Twice, actually. Sexist much? Still, a couple more surfs and he goes down, bringing out the Doug trio, who outspeeds me, because of course he does, brings me into the red with an earthquake. Don't his Pokemon know any other moves? Before Surf takes him out too. Last, and certainly least, is yet another Rhyhorn, but this one is a tad stronger, I suppose. Not strong enough to survive a Surf though. This fight was actually the second attempt. On the first attempt, I got Earthquake crit in the face. And just like that, we have all 8 badges. Giovanni is embarrassed losing to my pig 3 times, so he dissolves Team Rocket to begin his own journey of finding the most powerful Pokemon in the world. LeChonk, obviously. Before the Elite Four though, we have one last rival fight. And just like last time, this is a really difficult battle for the same reasons as before. Pidgeot just loves to use Feather Dance, which means I do basically nothing to his entire team. The first time I do make it to Alakazam before dying. On the second attempt, I make it past Alakazam to Gyarados with a whopping 8 HP left. Oh, and I'm paralyzed, so yeah. After several more attempts, I get lucky with an Omni Boost on turn 1, and Pidgeot does not use Feather Dance. This is basically the best start I could have had. With that boost, I blow through most of his Pokemon, and Alakazam chooses to not use Psychic. I guess he's trying to match my boost or something? Gyarados uses Rain Dance, and misses one Hydro Pump, which lets me take him out after taking a different Hydro Pump. Last is his Charizard, but with the rain still up, Surf is now a guaranteed one-hit KO, and I outspeed thanks to the Omni Boost. That was a rough one. Pig then declares that he's off to catch a legendary Pokemon to match LeChonky's. Good luck with that, man. He's one of a kind. I enter Victory Road and realize that I need strength to get through here. I guess I forgot that LeChonky's already has 2 HM moves, and I don't really want him to have 3, because I need Little Boy and Crunch for the next fights. So instead of catching a Pokemon, because that would ruin my perfect Pokedex of 0, I fly to Fuchsia and use the move deleter to get rid of Fly and replace it with Strength. Unfortunately, this now means I have to walk and surf all the way back to Viridian, which, if you don't know your Kanto, the fastest way to do that is to surf through Cinnabar. But you can't actually do that unless you go through the Seafoam Islands. And this doesn't actually mean you take a leisurely stroll, you actually have to complete the entire Seafoam Island puzzle, which is something that I haven't done in a decade or more. So I go that direction, even though I probably could have gone through Mount Moon, and it would have been faster anyway. And finally, arrive back at Victory Road, which I still have to get through. I'm getting really tired of walking right about now. Toward the end of Victory Road, I find these trainers who don't want to fight because I only have 1 Pokemon. They're just scared. I enter Indigo Plateau, and I'm ready to fight Lorelei. My plan here is simple. I'm going to use Lil Boy till I get the boost, and then switch to Strength. After only a few turns, I do get the Omni Boost, but Dugong survives the Strength, and then heals. She's doing a fair amount of damage too. In spite of the boost, LeChonky's dies to the very first Pokemon of the Elite Four. That was a bit sad. I immediately try again, and I just do so much less damage to Dugong than she does to me. Once again, we lose to the first Pokemon, so I get to level 60, and this time, things actually go quite a bit better. It also helps that I get the boost on turn 1, and Dugong starts with a Safeguard for some reason. After taking a Surf, LeChonky's finally beats the Dugong. How you like that? Against Cloyster, Crunch is a 2-hit KO as she sets up Hail. Slowbro comes out, a Crunch doesn't kill, and I get hit with Yawn. Which really sucks because I have an Asper Berry in case I got frozen, but I didn't consider falling asleep. The Slowbro heals as I fall asleep, and then she drowns my unconscious body. That's messed up. After trying several more times at level 60 and dying several more times, I repeat the process at level 62, 65, 67, 69, and 71, where at each level I tried to win multiple times, but nothing seems to be working. Now I'm getting really fed up here, and I didn't want to do this so early, but if Lorelei wants to play, then let's play. You see, I have a trick up my sleeve. At level 75, LeChonk learns Rollout, which just so happens to be super effective against most of Lorelei's team. But this means I have to part ways with Lil Boy after having it for 50 levels. He also learns Defense Curl, but I need Crunch, so that's not going to happen. After 3 tries, I get a really good start where my third rollout takes out the Dugong. Cloyster chooses to not use Protect for some reason and falls to a rollout, and my last hit takes out the Slowbro too. But the moment of truth arrives with Lapras, because I've never gotten past her in all this time. I start a new rollout and hope I can take her out in 3 hits, which I do. Finally. Last is her Jinx, but my rollout continues and takes her out too. Okay, that fight was by far the hardest one of this entire run. That was a really bad Elite Four start. For Bruno, I just used Surf on his Onix, obviously, that was easy. The Hitmonchan can deal some real damage, but he chooses to lower my speed instead and falls to 2 strengths. Hitmonlee does hit a pretty strong Brick Break, but then dies to a lucky crit. The Machamp misses 2 Cross Chops in a row before dying to strengths. Last is another Rock Snake who actually outspeeds. These guys are surprisingly fast. Hits an Earthquake, but then gets waterlogged. This was actually my 3rd attempt, which is still like 40 attempts less than Lorelei, so that's improvement, right? Against Agatha, I gave LeChonkies a Chesto Berry to avoid falling asleep. Her first Gengar survives a Crunch and uses Double Team before healing. A few more Crunches after I'm confused, and I take it out. Against the Golbat, I'm still confused, so Rollout probably won't work that well, but I try it anyway. And I hit myself on the 2nd turn. I start Rollout again as Golbat poisons me. I guess I should have used the Pecha Berry instead. I kill the Golbat with the next rollout, but with the Arbok's Intimidate, she survives, and with poison damage, kills me. For the next attempt, I do have a Pecha Berry. I hit the Arbok with a 4th rollout this time, kill her on the 5th, which brings out the Gengar, who misses a Hypnosis at one point and falls to 2 crunches. Last is Haunter, who goes down in a single crunch. These Elite Four fights just keep getting easier. That one only took 2 attempts. But I obviously spoke too soon, because Lance takes a while. I can consistently get to his first Dragonair, but then she kills me with Outrage every single time. Since I'm basically already at level 80, I decide it's time to unveil my last trick. LeChonky's ultimate move, Big Boy. This move is just like Lil Boy, except bigger. That's why it's called Big Boy. It actually has 200 power. Now you might argue that this is a Deus Ex Machina type of solution, and you would be 100% correct. But I don't care. This is still a meme run, so it doesn't really matter. And as much as I want to try out the new move, it'll have to wait. In the Lance attempts I didn't show, I managed to get the timing and damage just right so that I kill Gyarados on my 3rd rollout, the Aerodactyl on my 4th, and the Dragonite on my 5th. Assuming I don't miss, of course. In those attempts, this left me at the Dragonair's mercy. But now, I have Big Boy, that in its debut is a 1-hit KO and gives me a very unnecessary Omni Boost. Unnecessary because the next Pokemon is an identical Dragonair, winning me the last Elite Four match. Now only one person stands between LeChonky's and the championship, Pig. He tells me that he has a new addition to his team, but Pig actually only has a single Pokemon, and it's LeChonk. What else did you expect? Now his LeChonk isn't quite a clone of mine. He does know Big Boy and Rollout, which is rough, but instead of having Strength and Surf, like me, he has Lil Boy and Extreme Speed. And Extreme Speed makes sense, because LeChonk is nothing if not lightning quick. Anyway, I obviously use Big Boy, which barely misses out on the kill, and his LeChonk does the same, albeit with less effectiveness. He heals with a berry, and then could easily kill me with Extreme Speed. Instead, he prioritizes healing, which lets me hit him again, but still no crit and no boost. And now we're in the exact same position as before. He once again chooses to not use Extreme Speed, opting to heal, which lets me use Big Boy again, but this time I get a crit, knocking out the imposter LeChonk. Turns out, Pig somehow got an advanced copy of Pokémon Violet or something, and he went to Paldea to catch a LeChonk. No matter, LeChonkies has proven himself superior to any other LeChonk. Professor Oak arrives and is surprised to see that I won with just a LeChonk. Then he throws some shade at me for not doing his dirty work and filling up a Pokedex, whatever. And with that, we have successfully beaten Pokemon Fire Red using only a LeChonk. I wish I could have done it at a lower level, but that's okay. It was just for fun. As I said before, if you want to see another run like this, with LeChonk and Hoenn or perhaps another Paldean Pokemon, then make sure this video gets more than 1,000 likes and lots of comments. Because this video took a lot longer to create than I initially thought it would, and before repeating that process, I need to make sure it's worth it. As a takeaway from this video, I hope that when you finally get a LeChonk in Pokemon Scarlet or Violet, you think of me, Nuzlocke Joe, and name it LeChonkies, in honor of this wonderful champion. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.